Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. First, I want to apologize that, again, it's been so long since I've really done anything. I don't really have a good excuse. For some reason, I just have problems with motivation this time of year. Anyway, the big buzz on the Twitters in the gaming sphere right now really appears to be Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And, of course, not for any of the good reasons people might hope. And it and other things have sparked other conversations. There's been a lot of really interesting observations to be made. For those of you who may not know, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a story-driven open-world RPG that immerses you in an epic adventure in the Holy Roman Empire, specifically in 14th century Bohemia. You explore castles, forests, villages, and other realistic settings in medieval Bohemia. And this is, of course, small village Bohemia. So when this game came out, there was initially a very large outcry from the games journalists and people of that ilk because no diversity. Everybody in the game was white because this game really pushes on the historical accuracy. Now, I haven't played this game. I've heard good things about it. I think about trying it occasionally. Right now, I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3. I still have Nightingale. I'm in that. I'm not really buying much in the way of games right now, unless it really, really interests me. And Kingdom Come Deliverance and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, for that matter, are kind of on that back burner, maybe if I'm really looking for something or it's really cheap. Timeline, of course, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 hasn't even come out yet. Now, with that being said about the original, you might be wondering, if you are not someone who is clued into the current drama, one might say, running through the gaming world, why is there an issue with this one? Well, news reports began to surface that Kingdom Come Deliverance had been banned for an unskippable gay scene. This was kind of rumored. People actually read the articles. However, there is a problem. This is a tweet from the Hijabi Gamer. She is Arabic. She has family in Saudi Arabia. She speaks Arabic. She reads Arabic. She understands the general language. And she says, regarding Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, let me be absolutely clear. The Arabic, as translated by an actual Arab, it might be a gay cutscene, it might not be. It isn't clear. Saudi Arabia doesn't just ban or censor LGBT content. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it is. I'm telling you what the Arabic says, and the Arabic isn't clear. I spoke to family who agree. It doesn't have to be an LGBT scene. It is odd other countries haven't banned it yet. The articles are real. Maybe someone lied to them about what is in the game. Now, in this tweet thread by Daniel, whose last name I'm not going to try to say because I don't really want to screw it up, who is obviously involved with Warhorse Studios, who are developing Kingdom Come Deliverance. First, there are no unskippable cutscenes. All cutscenes are skippable. Second, there does appear to be a storyline path that you can take that would make the main protagonist gay or bi. Now, in this tweet thread by Grums, who spoke to someone who has played the game, supposedly, there is a gay romance option with a cutscene that is approximately 5 seconds of kissing and 5 seconds of them on a bed naked and totally skippable. Again, optional content. I've seen a lot of people claim that it must be forced, that people have to play it, that there is no way to avoid it. But, these are just the basic facts. This is a storyline possibility that they included in a game, not unlike they include in many other games where people didn't freak out about it. Now, this isn't to address how it's been handled by Daniel and Warhorse Studios in general, up to including and enacting more stringent rules on their community pages and basically becoming pretty authoritarian, attacking YouTubers, calling people grifters. All of that stuff is, in my opinion, unacceptable and unfortunately really bad for the people who might have worked on this game and aren't saying shit. It's another one of those situations where one bad apple can spoil the bunch. Now, do I know if that will affect that? I don't know. If the game comes out and it's really good and people realize that maybe they're overreacting a little bit to the idea of there being a little bit of gay in it by your own option, maybe. I don't know. At this point in time, people seem to be just a little overreactionary, in my personal opinion. I've said it before. I'll probably say it 100 times again. When it comes to a role-playing game, if there is a storyline path that is involved that you don't want to play, you don't have to play it. But in the end, at the same time, another thing I say all the time is if you don't want to buy a game, if it includes things that you don't like, don't buy it. It's not up to me to make that decision for you. It's not up to me to judge you for that decision. Realistically, I don't. I might... Okay, so that's a slight lie. Realistically, I do a little bit. It's more about the fact that the overreaction to an inclusion in a game that happens time after time in other games and is okay because it's optional, all of a sudden seems to be the end of the world. But I think this also ties into something else that's been going on. This ties directly back in to the current. Okay, so I don't know how to really approach this because I feel a lot of ways about this particular issue I'm about to talk about. And it's about puritanical people in gaming. I don't want to say just puritanical Christians, because while most of the people involved in these arguments are Christian, they're not just Christian, and there are plenty of Christians who disagree with them. In my experience, Christianity is a very large umbrella. You have people on the scale all the way from playing video games are evil, they're the devil, to it's a video game, it's not a sin, and everything in between. So I can't and won't assign this ideal to just being Christian, because it's not. There are people all along the scale that consider themselves Christians that fall in there. And in my opinion, it is not my job to judge them. I, as a Cthulhu creature, cannot judge other people's personal relationship with God, and I won't. But I will say that there's an unfortunate trend on the internet where people will, instead of addressing the points someone is trying to make, instead attack that person. The moment you say anything on the internet, you can basically guarantee that people will go back through anything you've ever said ever in your entire life that they can find and bring it back up to you and say, well, you said something different back then. And in some cases, that can be valid. In other cases, you have to realize people change their minds over time. And that goes on all sides of an argument. In this case, you have people who are considered currently puritanical Christians saying things like you should ban porn in gaming, that lust has no place in gaming, that building a game around lust is bad. People saying that people who make games who would sexually tempt people are tempting others into sin and thus sinning themselves. There's a huge range of possibilities in there that people have been stating. And then you have the other side who, of course, react to that wildly, because to them that sounds like the opposite of everything they've been fighting against. When you add on the idea of people calling other people sinners, calling them gooners, calling them demonic, especially after a period of time where people have been called racist, sexist, phobic for just liking the things they like, they're going to react strongly, and you're going to totally destroy any possibility of conversation whatsoever. It's something that's been going on for a long time. I honestly can't say I'm surprised that this is happening. It's always been an issue in gaming, but that's how we ended up with the ESRB. There's always been a movement within society that wants to use various forms of what I would call authoritarianism to protect people for the greater good. I obviously have issues with authoritarianism, so in my opinion, I think people are best off making their own decisions. But I am not the only person in the world, so obviously we're going to have people who want to make the decision for other people, or conversely want other people to make the decision for them because they don't feel that they are able to make their own decisions. And without getting into a great long argument about control, I think it's easiest if I just say the same thing again that I always say, and especially when it comes to gaming. Gaming is a luxury product. It has always been a luxury product. And because of that, we are in a unique situation where we can buy what we want or we can leave it. Just like when they came out initially started saying, if you don't like our politics, don't buy our books. When they say, if you don't like a game, don't buy a game. I am 100% behind that message. I also believe that discussion needs to be had, but at the same time, I can tell by watching the discussion on the internet that actual discussion is not occurring. You have people attacking each other as opposed to actually having the discussion. And it takes a lot to have a discussion on the internet now. And when I talk about these things, there's a reason I don't try to call out specific creators or name specific people, and it's because I don't want to talk about the people, I want to talk about the concepts. Yes, there are people who are performing examples of the behaviors I'm discussing, but I don't want people to get lost on who I'm talking about as opposed to what I'm talking about. And in this case, what I'm talking about is the fact that some people are going to be more puritanical about what they want to see in gaming. Some people want to see everything. Some people, believe it or not, want trans gay furries in their games. And this is why I said it before. I'm saying a lot of things I've said before. And because it applies all the way across the spectrum, it applies across not just when you're talking about woke, it applies when you're talking about sex. It applies when you're talking about gaming style, if you're talking about RPGs versus first-person shooters. It applies everywhere. The only thing that you ever need to be worried about is if you like a game or not. If that game is made for you or not. If someone else is telling you that you can't buy that game, tell them to go fuck themselves. If someone else is telling you that you have to buy this game, tell them to go fuck themselves. Meantime, let's also try to have a conversation where we can not necessarily come to an agreement, but come to more of an understanding of each other. I have zero issues if someone makes a truly Christian game. And by truly Christian, I mean, I don't care if it's like a Bible verse written based on Moses or whatever game, no sex, nothing, just straight up pure godly goodness. Go for it. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to play that game. That is not a game for me. But I'm also not going to say it shouldn't exist. Now, the issue comes when people who have the mindset that because they don't want to play that kind of game, because they are here to protect you from yourself, they have to stop you from playing the type of game that they don't want to play. That is where there's an issue. That is wrong. They don't see it as censorship. They see it as doing what is right for other people. And that is always a dangerous thing to get into, is when you're doing what is right for other people, because you don't always know what's right for other people. You can think you do. And yeah, in this case, with the statistics behind porn and its potential to negatively affect people, you could indeed make a case that you are doing what is best for people. But is taking away the ability for people to make their own choices really the best thing you can do? Now, in direct hypocrisy to what I said about not naming specific people when I'm talking about concepts, I'm going to name specific people because they say things in a way that is better than what I am actually able to say. First, you see, this is Mephisto, who has quote tweeted Shadiversity. Now, Shadiversity had a very good breakdown on why, from a Christian sense, the idea of attacking people over what they like isn't particularly compatible with the idea of Christianity. But in response to that, Mephisto goes through and talks about his other stuff. And the biggest thing here is the right to choose. Now, whether you're talking about it in a biblical sense or you're talking about it in my opinion, handicapping people by not allowing them to make their own choices kind of sense, censorship does one important thing, and it takes away somebody's right to choose. Now, some people think that taking away someone's right to choose is a good thing. When you take away somebody's right to choose, you take away their chance and ability to first exercise the skill of learning how to choose well. And believe it or not, it is a skill. You have to practice over and over and over again, making a choice so that you can figure out how to make the best choices for yourself and not have somebody else do the choosing for you. Secondly, they are keeping you from growing. They are keeping you from experiencing the negative effects of your own choice and growing from those. In a world where we seem to think that if we wrap everybody in cotton and make it impossible for them to get hurt, they will turn out in the best possible way. Well, we're living the result of that. The game industry we are trying to leave behind is the result of that situation, is the result of people not learning how to deal with negative emotions and negative outcomes. And if that is what you want, then we can go back to that. I mean, we're not that far away. It's really easy to just pivot and go right back. Problem is a lot of people disagree about who gets to make the choices about what to take away. And that's always the fight. The fight's never, what do we take away? It's who gets to decide. In my opinion, I don't think anybody should decide for you. I think that's your decision, what you want to consume. And it's not on me to make it for you. It's not on me to decide what's best for you. It's not on me to decide what games you love, what games you want to play. If you're okay with playing a game that has a gay choice in it, if you don't want to play a game that has a black samurai in it, if you don't want to play a game that has a woman lead, whatever your reason for not playing a game is your reason. And you have the right to that choice, no matter what reason you're making it, because it is your money you are spending to make that choice. It is your time you are spending to play that game. And nobody in this world, not me, not anybody else, has the right to tell you that you can't do that. At least in my opinion. Now, how much my opinion is worth, who knows? Probably not very much. Hopefully I haven't made too many of you angry with my take here. That is not my intent. I'm genuinely just trying to discuss the concepts here. I don't want to attack or make anybody feel bad about it. I just want to express my opinion and hopefully encourage people to have actual discussions about this as opposed to getting into attack fights. I would much rather see people discuss where their own boundaries lie and why, as opposed to see them argue about who's the more hypocritical in this situation. Because when you try to pin down who's the most hypocritical, you don't get anything. You don't learn anything. Nobody learns anything. Nobody evolves. Nobody takes away anything positive. Well, I take that back. Some people take away a lot of money, and good for them. But I do think people stand a good chance to grow when they have the kinds of discussions that not just discusses their own boundaries, but they learn about other people's boundaries. You don't have to agree about where the boundaries are, but when you understand where somebody else's are and why they have them, it can bring you to a better understanding of your own. It doesn't necessarily mean it brings your boundaries closer to where theirs are, but it does give you some more context about where you've placed yours. In some cases, they could actually lower your boundaries, even though you've had the conversation. Now, of course, this is the internet. Me asking for people to have conversations is basically like asking a dog to cook a meal. So I understand that my statements are basically an act of futility. But speaking of dogs, I have a little bit of puppy stuff, not a whole lot, but let's take a look. First, here's a picture of my little troublemaker, Carolyn. She is such a spitfire. I can't even begin to tell you how relieved I am that her seizure issue wasn't epilepsy or something along those lines. It's a hard enough issue to deal with the fact that she can't be vaccinated any further, but to know that she will at least go through life healthy and hopefully with a minimum of further side effects means the world to me. Finally, here's a cute little video for you. You see Carolyn, Cassandra, and Violet all chewing on that stick right there. That stick, let's see if there'll be a moment where you can see how long it is. Cassandra brought that stick in through the dog door. She is 9 weeks old, 3 pounds, and managed to figure out how the fuck to get that stick through the doggy door. There's a reason I really like this breed, despite the fact that they're small dogs. They are very intelligent. They've got problem-solving skills that will scare you and honestly irritate the shit out of you. But it's only a matter of time before I have to find the other girls their own homes. All said and done, in my lapsed state, I have to genuinely tell everybody who has continued to support me during this little bit of silence, thank you so much. That is DX Machina NZ, Emperor Doomsday, Schmitted, Almogo, Narrator 45, Felix, Stormborn, Aramis, Corinne Ponder, Ben Henniger, John Grant, and Silver Ogre. I also have to thank Silver over on Ko-Fi, where he supports. I appreciate that so much as well. For those of you who are interested in supporting, you can obviously find the link for the YouTube memberships down in the comments. Or if you prefer to avoid giving YouTube your money, you can go over to Ko-Fi. And I will appreciate it no matter what. But most importantly, I want to thank everybody who watches these videos, who gives my words a chance, whether you disagree or agree or whatever. I appreciate the time that you spend here with me, because time is the most valuable commodity you have. In other business, I do need to tell everybody that I am now on a podcast. It is the Offensive Charm podcast that will be every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We talk about just gaming news and drama stuff. So do feel free to wander all over there and check us out. We will be doing that tonight. As a matter of fact, I will include a link to the podcast in the comments. So please stop by. That channel is also heading up to 500 where we can start accepting super chats. So if you would drop a subscription as well, I would genuinely appreciate it. But I also understand if you want to watch an episode before you bother doing that. I look forward to having a great new year and talking to you guys about so much more. Again, thank you all for everything. And I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.